Who would have thought we would have started the pre-snap podcast with a
This is definitely not going.
No, I think it has
I like the look.
We've got to capture a new audience, mate.
It'll start like this. So we've just been talking about Taylor Swift and her new album.
Dropping 15 minutes, all
the,
too well.
And
all over the world.
Chiefs are back to the top of the AFC West. Everything is right in the world.
Taylor Swift in the news and Chiefs atop the ladder. Everything's normal
You
again.
bunch of basic bitches.
So, which we all kind of like. The Raiders were struggling. We kind of knew that going in. Like, I think I predicted that it was going to be. I had a feeling that scraping through the last two, what you could say. How would you describe the wins against Green Bay and New York?
Oh, that was clutching victory from the jaws.
Yeah,
crawling across the line.
To then come out against a Raider side that obviously had all that off-field drama, and then to put on a performance like that, it kind of doesn't surprise me. Like, because I know obviously I've been saying all the time we've got the talent, and it's just thank the Lord we've finally put it together.
This is not enough. I know that I've said for weeks now, the Chiefs are a good team and they're going to get back on track. There's plenty of time, that kind of stuff. But I hate stuff like this where the difference between the prior couple of weeks and now is Chiefs suck. They're not going anywhere. Mahomes is washed. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah. And then one game, and it's like, Chiefs are back. They're going to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. Neither of those reactions are appropriate. Yeah. So they're not, this isn't everything's good again. It's all, but it's also not everything's fucked and they're not making the playoffs. I think it's just taken them this long. And if you watch that game and you go through in a bit more detail, some of that stuff is still there, right? Plays where Mahomes was picked off a few weeks back and he doesn't get picked off and someone makes a good catch. Yeah. Stuff like that. Like the plays are the same. The play calling's pretty similar. Mahomes is still kind of trying to make the same kind of plays. It's just this game, he made them. Yep. And the last few weeks to couple months, he didn't make them. So I don't know that they've suddenly... It's not like they came into this game and they were like, we've completely revamped our offensive game plan. Our defense is going to play differently. We're going to run it. We're going from 3-4 to 4. Nothing really changed. They just played better.
Mahomes just took the options he should have been taking all season.
Yes, that is true. He did do
easy 8 yards throws to your running back. Just
wasn't trying to force it as much.
Here's what I picked up offensively. One, somehow they're still getting away with still running outside zone as much as they can. Yep. When they've built the offensive linemen were built to win like duos and power. They have no interior game to complement this high flying offense that punishes. And there's I can't remember. I was watching a good analysis about it, but basically their run game does not. They don't have a run game that can strike back against too high safety looks. And that's why they haven't been able to punish all these too high looks, because they haven't got a power run game underneath. And I mean by power, schematic power. They haven't got a duo. They haven't got even trap plays underneath. Yep. They persisted with like 60% outside zone runs, which you can cover too high if the alley defender works hard enough and you have enough support from the outside. So that frustrated me that they still got away with that. Yep. I was barking up, and I still am barking up this tree, that Kelsey needed to win his matchups underneath. Now, they managed to, in my opinion, not quite get Kelsey to where he was at or what I've seen Kelsey as in the past. Yep. But they still managed to replicate his damage. Yep. All of his production came on him just stalk blocking, fake blocking, and then getting open underneath. Yep. So they still managed to get that same damage of punishing that situation, but it wasn't because he was out there dominating. Nah. Even though the numbers suggest he'll take it. He did it, once, twice maybe. Yep. But I would hazard a guess that at least half a dozen of his reception yardage or receptions were off those little stalk blocks, dump it back to him.
Oh, but for sure. Kelsey's probably just doing that tight end, that great tight end transformation that they all do, where they go from what they were and they become... Jason Witten wasn't always just slow and catching fucking little... 8-yard hooks right at the goal line. But eventually they become that, because a tight end in particular, they're so much bigger. There's a lot more wear and tear on them. They don't have that. They're not going to have that devastating athletic ability for the same amount of time that a wide receiver or something is. Yep. So they got to turn into what becomes just kind of, they understand the coverage, they know where to sit, they know where to be that release valve for their quarterback. And I think Kelsey's doing that a lot more.
So what you're saying is that Kelsey has taken the step on the decline. Is that what you're saying, Curtis?
No, not
you
yet.
You do that because you can't just go out there and beat him one-on-one anymore.
No, I'm going to say he's starting to decline, but that doesn't mean I think he's going to have a decline in production or he's going to have less touchdowns or less yards, or I think he's just transitioning.
To a freaking old folks home. But yeah, that's what my concern is. But look, you find a way to replicate it. I felt like there was that it was that scene from Moneyball where they said if we try to like get Giambi back, we're not going to find Giambi. But what we can do is we can replicate.
That's
what I found they did with Kelsey. They found a way to just make sure he was still relevant, but it wasn't because he was just winning his matchups. And I think there is like side effects of that. You don't get the same effect of, you know, safeties and linebackers and apex defenders in the slot now gravitating towards him because he demands that attention.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to get the yardage, but you still don't get that same payoff to your outside guys.
Yep.
So you're still going to need Tyreek Tyreek's not going to get. It's not going to get any easier for Tyreek, is what I'm trying to say.
No.
So, but look, what I'll be surprised is your defense did not look like the same defense over the last 9 weeks.
Yeah, they played well, and it's not like the Raiders are a pushover either. I mean, they've been kind of crappy in terms of just mistakes. They've made mistakes. You know, they've kind of beat themselves the last few weeks. But it's not like you're versing a crappy pushover team there.
Yeah, it just looked like it. We blitzed at the right times and things like that, and it looked like it's finally starting to pay off for Spags and his D. So
yeah, and I mean, Spags has always had a defense that relies on players executing more so than others, right? He doesn't he schemes you into things, but he just relies on having good players executing their plays well. Yeah. He'll get you a one-on-one, right? But you need to beat that one-on-one to get to the quarterback, for example. Like,
it was weird seeing Melvin Ingram in a Chiefs uniform.
Dude, he played good too, man.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's accepted what he's there for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Third down. You're not who you used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's kind of like the perfect guy for that Spags D, as I said.
Yep. Yes.
Schematically. And the benefit of Melvin Ingram, he's not just an edge guy when it comes to blitzing. You'll see him line up over a guard. You'll see him move left and right, you know. So that's actually a pretty handy pick. I'll be honest, we could probably do with Melvin Ingram right now. Especially with Joseph Bosa currently on the COVID inactives list. I just found out that my good friend Joey is not vaccinated. And look, I am not going to start a fight with all the, I won't even call you anti-vaxxers, all the self-bodily, how do we call them?
Pro-choice. Let's call them pro-choice. They love that.
Pro-choice people out there.
Pro-choice, but anti-abortion for some weird reason.
All right. But yeah, look, I thought, if anything, his brother, Nick, was a little more vocal about it. But it turns out Nick, whilst being disgruntled, got vaccinated. Joseph did not.
Okay. That's weird.
And you know I'm mad.
And what's the repercussions for not being vaccinated and getting COVID?
Well, first
can't be in the facility for 10 days.
10 days, but I think right now we're still not on that confirmation. He's got to see if he can turn over his first. Because I don't think he's got COVID. I should pull that back. He was a close contact.
Okay.
He was a close contact. It's not like Aaron Rodgers per se, even though I felt Joey probably was a bit misleading himself.
Yep. Have there been multiple, because maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, the Giants had a case where it had 23 positive tests for COVID. And then it all turned out they were false positives. So
we'll see how we go, because him and the D-line and Tillery and himself, both close contacts. Tillery is vaccinated, he is not. So they've got to try and turn over 2 in like 4 days or something.
Yep.
To see if they're eligible for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, 2 negative tests in 48 hours and they're good to go.
Who have you got this week?
We have got the Steelers, which I was confident about until now.
That could, without those guys, like that could turn into a real grind.
Well, I thought it might be even because I thought TJ Watt was, not looking great and had an MRI done on himself, his leg or something like that. He's come back fine though, so he's day to day.
Yeah,
that's not going to be a great fight for us if that's the case, especially if we're coming off a loss to the Vikings, which might I add, I'm still perfect on my predictions,
on your predictions,
since the Browns game. And I think that could change this week if we do not have Bosa.
So you called a win over the Steelers?
I called a win over the Steelers.
I don't know. Bosa, yeah. But, I mean, even with Bosa, you guys were, having a bit of trouble with the run.
Exactly. So what I'm just saying, without Bosa,
I know.
He's probably the only thing holding that shit together.
Yeah, but I think you've got an ability there to take care of business. I mean, the Steelers almost lost to the Lions in a tie, a tied game.
How about that? Let's quickly move on because I don't want to talk about it.
You know, I
want to talk about the fact that whilst we managed to keep Dalvin Cook under 100, we've still got every receiver dropping balls. Did you guys? Probably not because why would you watch Chargers game? But for the first time, I saw Justin Herbert get mad. Like he slings.
Really?
It was a third down. Like it was a pass on third down. Drills a pass to the hands of a rookie third round draft pick Joshua Palmer. Bounces straight off it. For the first time, you just see your mouth. Catch it! Get that or something like that. I can't blame him, and I kind of like seeing a little bit of fire come out.
Yeah, that's good. You always want to see a bit of fire.
But look, at the end of the day, maybe he's still.
Dude, you see it. You see it every time Aaron Rodgers throws the ball. Aaron Rodgers could throw the worst pass in the world, and he'll still give his receiver a swing.
Rodgers is terrible at that. He calls out every receiver every time.
Well, do you reckon he does it a little more like passive aggressively?
Yeah, he's not as like super vocal, but I guarantee that
he gives you that look.
Yeah,
that Aaron Rodgers look.
But
like
he
he's
definitely yells.
In you.
He's always disappointed. That man thinks he can do no wrong. Peyton was much worse, yeah. And I mean, Brady can be.
Brady looks like he sulks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
like, don't get me wrong. Brady's the man.
Yes.
But he looks like he just like if he throws like a pass and someone doesn't catch it, he looks like he just kind of like sulks and ignores that dude for a little bit.
You know what he gives? He gives you real like. We'll talk about this in the car.
Yeah. I'm not going to call you out in front of it. I'm not going to embarrass you here, but we're having a conversation later.
Yeah.
And because for years Brady was blessed with, I don't know, what do they call them? The gym rat white quarterbacks who always sneaky athletic, bringing their lunch pail.
First in, last out, blue collar.
But all of Edelman, Amendola, Wes Welker and stuff would always catch those, like, even if Brady threw a shitty pass, they would always catch them. So I feel like for so many years he was used to having that guy, and then if somebody drops even a bad pass, I think that's the one thing too that a lot of these guys don't ever acknowledge is sometimes you threw a shitty pass, bro, and yes, the wide receiver might have been able to catch it if they did a miraculous thing, but that shouldn't be the expectation. The expectation is throw a better pass.
Yeah, but do you know why that is? Let me bring you back. The year is 2009. We're on our run to our East Side Championship. Sammy, I don't know if you were here at this game. Basically, I was an H-back back.
I think it was in England for the final.
You might no, but it wasn't. This was like a game against the Wildcats.
I'm pretty sure I played the semi.
The now extinct Wildcats.
Okay.
And I was believe it or not, everyone remembers me as a DT, but I was a fullback / H-back.
Yep.
I was motioned out to the slot.
Yep.
I don't remember that being in the playbook. I didn't see the offensive, but
they love a good blitz.
Yeah.
They blitzed everyone, meaning that if I'm running vertical, I'm open. Knowing that Phil's not going to look at a fullback running a vertical in the slot, I say, hit me. Phil, to respect, looks at me, double takes because he's like, fuck, he's can't slings it. And then comes screaming across is the safety who picks the ball off as I fall into the end zone. Now, I want to say that throw was clearly underthrown. I was in the end zone. The safety picked off in front of me. Yet who gets yelled at the sideline? Me, the fullback looking for a bit of love who got open downfield in the end zone. But no, we need to protect the feelings of our quarterback. And that's exactly why I had to wear that. And that's exactly why no one comes at the quarterback for quote unquote bad passes.
It's always on the receiver.
Now that Cottis is freaking retired, I will definitely
call him out on that
say
one.
that was underthrown. Should have been 6.
Yeah, look, it was another crazy week, man. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, like obviously the
so
Bucs
much
going
more
down
exciting.
and again 2 weeks in a row. Rams going down again 2 weeks in a row.
So the Giants are coming up against the Bucs. I'm not looking forward. Two things, I'm not looking forward to Brady after 2 losses. And when the last time Brady had 2 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row in his career.
Yeah.
Once in 2004.
Jesus,
That's it.
back when
That's
he was basically still a young pup.
Exactly. That's the only time in his career he's ever had 3 losses in a row.
And on top of that, I think Antonio Brown will be back.
Yep.
Which makes a huge difference because he loves that underneath stuff. Gronk might even be available.
Yep.
And then they might be getting more healthy in defense. And it's on prime time.
Yep.
So
The downside, though, is that whenever Brady versus the Giants, he gets some weird, like, Nam flashbacks and plays like, really shit.
what's like that meme, like the dog meme with the dog?
Like the helicopters, the sounds of helicopters and stuff. But it's just Eli Manning's face just drooling in front of him.
Tell me Eli Manning's on they're doing the Monday Night Manning cast for that.
I'm not sure, but I think so.
gotta do it.
They have to. The problem is Manning can't say. Eli doesn't say too much about the Giants. He's a bit kind of
Bitch.
especially too because he works for the organization, is in a paying job with the Giants. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's head of fan engagement, I think.
In other words,
How's that going?
Apparently he's got a desk.
Yeah.
A desk and an office, so that's cool.
What's that?
And
engagement?
also,
what is he
actually,
doing? Sitting on social media, just liking all the freaking.
actually, no.
Hashtags.
This year, yeah.
Giants Bucs. Hashtag Giants Bucs.
He's actually really good value on Twitter. Check out Eli Manning's Twitter because he's sponsored by Frank's Red Hot sauce.
Oh, yeah,
and just talks a lot about hot sauce. He also he tries a different, what do you call the burger, the smashed one just with Sloppy Joes. He eats a Sloppy Joe every week watching the football.
Sloppy.
And also this year, the Giants had a Marvel comic. A Giants Marvel comic where the Giants are in, like, the players are in a comic with, like, Captain America and Black Panther and stuff that the fans got to get. So basically, Eli Manning's job got us an issue of a Marvel comic, a Giants Marvel comic, which is very Eli Manning.
That scene out of Dark Knight where at the Steelers Stadium, they did it at the Steelers Stadium, right?
Yep.
And that was sick.
Yes.
That was a sick scene, man.
Hines Ward is the one that catches it and runs toward the camera, right? And everyone's like falls
so they
behind
actually
him.
use players?
Yeah. They were Gotham.
Dude,
they were like the Gotham football team or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was Steelers Stadium and it was
Heinz
Steelers
Field, yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder what made that decision to use Heinz Field. Especially when, you got MetLife. I mean, I guess it probably comes down to price.
I reckon
Whoever was going to charge the least to use their field, probably.
Yeah.
But it had that.
Or maybe Pittsburgh
it has
had
that
like
rugged,
tax stuff.
hard-working vibe of a city as well.
It matches a Gotham City
Well,
kind
given
of
Gotham
stadium.
is based off New York. What does that mean for Rutherford?
MetLife would have been good though, because that's just kind of a bare concrete. It's a boring stadium. If you ever look at MetLife,
Freaking gear change. Did you guys hear about the whole Green Bay selling off, quote unquote, not shares of the team to try and raise money to finally upgrade Lambeau?
yeah, it's dumb. They're collectibles.
They're getting the NFT line.
They're a share, right? $300, quote unquote, $300 per share, I think it is. They don't appreciate. Can't be traded. They can't be a whole bunch of stuff. It's just always going to be a $300 share that you can't ever do anything with.
Yeah.
Like you always have it. You just basically paid them $300 and got nothing in return. So it's I don't know why you would buy it. I guess they want it.
Dude.
And also apparently, and I will need to triple check this. I always want to check my facts, but this isn't a fact, but I did read somewhere that apparently there's a clause that says if you own one of these and you criticize the NFL or the commissioner, you can be like liable for $150,000 fine.
That's the real money getter. That's what they're doing.
So they can just fine a poor fan that goes on like their Facebook and goes, "Fuck Roger Goodell." Bam, 150
He's just
grand
roasting
fine.
Sorensen on Instagram.
Yeah, bam, fine.
Have you guys ever tried to reach out to any players or?
Dude, I do it all the time, man.
Do you? Just
and they
shoot
never
your shot?
respond, bro. It's so degrading, but I keep trying. I think I've DM'd Frank
game.
Clark 4 or 5 times.
Frankie, leaving my boy red.
There was a period where every time we'd win, I'd just send him a shark emoji. Because Frank the Shark, baby.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then who else have I DM'd? I think the only person I haven't DM'd is probably Patrick Mahomes. Because I know
That's
that's
all right. He might respond.
Is that
Nah.
because you think he's too pretty for you? And like,
as soon as I press
You got
send,
no
it's just, I'm
chance.
getting lost in that request. Never to be seen again.
I don't think I've DM'd like Chargers social media before. I don't think I've actually done a player or whatnot, but I did once tweet at Roger Goodell ahead of draft night because I was I don't know if you guys know me, but I love me novelty bets and I'm actually quite talented at them. And I was just like, cuz you want to let us know what color tie you're wearing tomorrow? Go on. 'Cause it was
There was a
tweet
novelty
reply
bet.
of like showing like he was showing his draft suite or whatever because it was just out of his home or whatever.
Yeah,
And I was like, go on, show us what color tie you're wearing. Turns out he wore no tie. Oh. Which is exactly what I got on.
Oh.
It was a great time. Sorry, just pumped
Wow.
up my tie.
The most recent one I've sent was to Jody Fortson. He just did his Achilles, and I sent like a good
Trying to find-
get better one. And I was like, surely I get a response from this one.
you
Nah,
just-
bro, he shifted me bad. I
Bro,
was
you're
like,
getting all the vulnerable people now.
yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Well, at least you're sending nice ones, and you're not one of those people that goes on and goes,
yourself.
"Fucking kill yourself."
Yeah,
You should,
but
why
he's
didn't you
like-
catch that ball?
And he's only got like some of them have only got like 10 to 20,000 followers. So like,
Yeah, I feel like if you get a guy brought
surely.
up, because I every single year fall in love with some practice squad player, right? Or not even practice squad. There's just some guy on the, what is it, 92 you can have? Or 89 to 90, 92
Yeah.
including like international inclusions and stuff. And you always fall in love with just one dude on the roster who you're like, this guy's awesome. He should make it because he's practice squad, practice highlight reel. And those guys, I reckon you could probably get a response. You always see them, they bounce around the league for a while. They're not doing anything.
We know what we would do. We need to start hitting up some of these kickers that are getting cut, man. Sure, they're looking for it. Should we make that a
bit of love.
contest? Should we make that a contest between us? It's the personal one.
Yeah, let's try and see who can get the first.
Who can get the first
DM back from
response.
an NFL player.
They just-
NFL
do they
player, or
have-
does it have to have a blue tick?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, let's just say somebody on a current roster.
They have to be
so they
on a
can't be cut.
53.
Hey,
So they can't be cut. Practice squad?
I mean, if you get practice squad, I'll give it to you, man. Like,
You get a half point
Like,
for a
if
practice
they are
squad.
currently-
if they're on an
currently
active
on practice-
53,
let me just say, I've been trying real hard already, and it hasn't happened yet. So
if I reckon if they're on an active 53,
All right, fine. But if you get practice squad, it can get trumped by a 53.
yes, you're the winner until someone can beat you with
yeah, you got the rest of the regular season.
rest of the regular season. Cool.
I'm going to be so slutty.
Yeah, it's just like it DMing every single player, and surely one gets back.
Surely if I just send feet pics ?
Imagine if they like they after a game they come in the middle and be like, did one of those pre-snap boys DM you as well? It's like, yeah, they did. Like, did you reply? No, I didn't reply. Oh, okay, sweet. But if you like overheard it in like on like a primetime thing and they're like discussing it and shit,
On mic'd up.
that would be so good.
Or
Keep getting
imagine
weird
just, like,
DMs.
just seeing like their phones like on the side afterwards and just seeing our logo.
And then just be like,
Instagram. Oh man, that'd be living the dream. Living
Oh,
the
God.
goddamn dream. What's next on our topic, Samuel?
well, we haven't even done your favorite plays. I think you
Oh
gotta-
yes, we wanted to bring this up.
Can on Friday night.
Let me just reclap in.
Reclap in. Me and Ken might have the same favorite play. So
It was
count down from 3. 3, 2, 1.
offensive
Lineman
at
scoring a
Miami.
touchdown, maybe, but it wasn't actually a touchdown.
Nailed it.
I forget what his name was.
I'll send it to
should've
the
brought up.
the group chat if you want to bring it up on the biggie.
Yep.
If
I'm
you can.
so
That was a
unbelievably
Robbie Hunt.
angry. Yeah, Robert Hunt. There we go. So I was as I've mentioned before, my missus is a big Miami fan, and she was watching this live.
Loves
I
a
managed to get to the pub on Friday for lunch and see it live as well. And can we firstly say, congrats Dolphins for getting one up on the Ravens.
Yeah.
Where was that all season?
Huge for
Miami, huge for Tua.
Dancing between quarterbacks as well.
huge for
Jacoby
a lot of
comes
teams.
off. I mean, Jacoby comes off because he's, I don't know, he pulled a hammy or something, injured.
Can't drag it up to the.
Tua comes on and leads them to the win. So huge for Tua. Fuck up the ownership there. Like, what have you done? You've screwed it up with Tua. You know, at least he got amazing He got an amazing little start under his belt, I think. Tua did.
We already had the background. What are you putting it back?
I don't know. I think I enlarged the photo or something.
Go to the start.
Here we go.
So we'll break it down for the audio listeners, all 1.5 years. We are watching it now on the big screen there. It is after Tua Tagovailoa has jumped on. He's thrown a screen, which I'm sure was meant for one of the running backs.
He had no right catching that ball.
It was meant for the running back, but it wasn't. It was meant for Gaskin, right? It's a screen to the right, screen pass to the right. You got 3 offensive linemen in front.
Injured?
No. He
gets up and he's fine.
Why aren't his team just
watch
rallying?
This in slow-mo. Look at this.
Athleticism.
It looks so amazing when they pause it as well. Oh, just seeing those numbers in that. That's a thing of beauty. Now, of course. So if it wasn't for this one little rule called eligibility, that would have been a beautiful touchdown. But unfortunately, he did not report as eligible prior to the ball being snapped. So therefore, it is not a touchdown, but it will be replayed on a highlight reels for years.
It's already up in the Dolphins facility, plastered all over the walls. That shot of him going over.
It to be the new NFL logo.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as they actually have the number 68 on it.
Yeah.
But like, what do you do there? Like, if you know you're not allowed to catch the ball, or you gotta
catch it. You know, I mean, what's your instinct, right? The ball's coming straight at you. You either let it drop to the ground.
And like, you could just mute that and show your kids, and they would never know.
That was the Super Bowl, kids. I just won it.
That was my 100th touchdown catch. It's like, do you guys know who Brian Scalabrine is? He's that guy who was like the bench warmer for Boston for ages, and they somehow for some reason got him onto an interview after one of the Boston championship games, and they asked him such a rude question of like, how do you feel of knowing that you didn't play a single minute in the entire series or whatever? He's like, how do I feel? I feel great, because 5 years from now, no one's going to remember that. I'm going to say I played 10 minutes. 10 years from now, no one's going to remember. I'm going to say I played half the game. 15 years from now, I'm going to say I started. And in 20 years' time, I'm going to say I won MVP. What the hell are you guys going to do about
Yeah, it's genius.
It's the same when Eli Manning had an interview and someone asked him, how do you feel after you've thrown an interception? Like, what do you feel like after you throw an interception in your career? He goes, I don't think I've ever thrown an interception in my career.
Get the lighters out. What a gaslighter.
I haven't thrown an interception. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. That just reminds, like, when you brought up the old Bayside team chat, dude, I was actually talking about that today at like reminiscing on the days.
Good,
yeah, dude, it was so much fun. I had to, when you brought it up, every time you bring it up, I have to hold back so much.
Yeah, so much.
I love that in the same year you won, one of the most historic rugby titles in state high history, yet you get just as an emotional talking.
For the
your
Ravens.
09 state championship for GQ.
Well, I mean, it kind of like that itself, like coming off like obviously that big win, and then obviously then getting to play with some of the older boys like Dylan Rowe and who had already graduated, but then obviously we never got the chance to when we were
actually play
in high
with
school.
them,
So like they would come back and we're still kind of in high school, and we obviously rolling off the back of that premiership, we kind of had a lot of swagger, and the whole team, it kind of, I think, not to like piss in the State High boys' pocket, but we kind of brought that to the team, and then I think it just sort of made everyone else have that as well.
100%. Now, let me... Is this the memory lane part of the podcast?
I guess
we can do it once.
we got to do it at least one episode.
Listen, so obviously, the Ravens organization split the two junior programs into two teams because such big numbers. A bulk of players stayed in the Bayside. A bunch of us who lived out this way, expanded out to the East Side. We were affectionately known as the East Side Ravens, the only team known as that to date. And I knew that we were missing a bit of bulk here, so I went full Brad Pitt Moneyball on my
on recruiting. Yeah,
and I'm like, I recruited certain people. Curtis.
Dude, you went full LA Rams.
I went hard LA Rams.
You were going on the waiver wire, free agency.
I was pushing everyone, and I said, look, I'm going to approach as many as I can. If I can nail 4, 5, 6 of these guys, I've got a premiership. I've got a championship nucleus.
I kind of remember it not taking much though. Once a couple of us were kind of like, I think we might do it.
First one was Curtis.
Yeah.
Curtis, I knew loved American football from early thing. I knew he was a smart
And I
guy.
was kind of thinking about it already, I think.
Yeah. And you just needed someone to just push you over the line.
I just needed someone to tell me who to play for and where to play.
Yeah.
And
right?
it was, and I'm glad you didn't end up playing for the Wildcats.
Yeah.
Or God knows whatever.
Yep.
But then, which then made Smalley an easy target.
Yep.
Who then, but after that, it actually made Sam pretty easy. I pretty much got Sam and Smalley at the same time.
Yeah.
I just remember sitting in film and TV. A lot of our memories go back to film and TV because, again, Sam ain't paying any attention to TV. He's just looking at all the Taylor Mays highlights I'm dropping in front of him. I owe Taylor Mays an assist on getting Sam over the line.
Yeah.
But then you're obsessed with getting it. And then Smalley goes, well, if these boys are doing it, why not? Smalley ended up being our tight end, called the first touchdown of the season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not much more after that. We really underutilized him to this day.
Yeah, for a dude who is, I don't want to say sneaky athletic just because he's white, but was
so
sneaky athletic. It was.
I think in another time we would actually played him at slot receiver and played someone else at tight end. It was a bit wasted at tight end, but we digress. And then from there, once I got someone who was in the first 15, I knew the world was open to me. And I started looking for bigger targets, literally bigger
targets.
And I managed to get Dylan Rowe. And I know other guys I missed. I actually wanted to get Fungi on board.
Yeah.
Again, no one's not going to understand if you're not at state high. Fungi, I remember. I had a long list of targets, bro. I had Esteban Rivera, like maybe you can fit it at linebacker.
Yeah.
I had a couple, even the younger fellas there. I think Big Brandon Nicholson, I thought could make a pretty good guard and stuff like that. I had a bunch of targets there.
That's the great thing about the sport as well. Like, there's kind of a position for you.
Yeah, for everyone, right?
No matter how you're built, whether
More so than rugby, just because you don't need that cardio.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I still remember, man. We are totally just going off the NFL right now. But there was that time we were getting punished for something or whatever. I'm on struggle street. We're doing suicides or whatever.
Yeah.
And you, Sam, obviously coming off the back of a season from first 15 rugby, is just jogging along. I was resenting you so hard. I was about to die. And this was clearly nothing to you. But you're right. You guys, we needed, like, the Gold Coast Stingrays that year we're doing on the drive for 5, had won 4 straight. Little did we know, using 21-year-old players.
Yeah.
And we needed, a lot of our core guys, myself included, were kind of lost to the air of Gold Coast Stingrays, and we needed guys who were so confident in themselves and had no idea what the background was for this 4-time championship side.
Weren't really scared of any team.
When we came up against them, they were just a bunch of guys who probably had a fair bit of facial hair and a bunch of kids on the side.
We kept them to nil that game too, I think. Because they didn't even make finals that year, did they?
Well, that's because they were found out halfway through.
They lost all their points.
They lost their points and whatnot. They scored 1 touchdown, I think, in that one game I was injured. But I still remember you made the final tackle there.
That was the only game, I feel like, where it was kind of like, oh, we might not actually win.
We did lose. No, we did lose a game.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We drew a game as well.
We drew a game.
Yeah, it wasn't a perfect season.
Oh, yeah, we drew against the other Bayside team.
Everyone thought that was rigged. I'm like, no,
but
we just had the worst defensive game.
We came out against them the second time we played them, and it was like murder house.
Yes.
Holy dooly.
It was at home as well.
We were out for blood.
Like, out for blood.
Yeah, it was bad.
I even got a lot of people remember my boys like Phil and whatnot still talk about me attempting a hurdle on the final run of the game.
Yep, I remember that.
If you can call it a hurdle, I got one leg over.
We took that to heart for some reason.
Well, we really thought we were the better Ravens.
And we needed to because it was like our only opportunity because it didn't look like they might not have made finals. So
I would always, if anyone is listening out there, anyone at all. But I would always recommend that if you are really into American football, just play one season. Like, just give it a go. Just once.
Scratch that itch.
It makes it, one thing, just even learning plays, right? Actually having to do the plays that you've learned and trying to piece together how things can work, whether you're on offense or defense or whatever, gives you, just in that kind of one season you play, will give you so much more knowledge about what you're actually watching on the TV. Yeah. Even very simple coverage. If you're playing in Australia, all the coverages, all your kind of schemes, they're quite simple. They're very basic. You can mix things up depending on, who you have in the team. Yeah. But little stuff like that lets you then turn on the TV on a Sunday or Monday for us and go, I know that's a 4-3. Yeah. I know the D end there. I know that D end is trying to set the edge. I know that all that stuff.
You also know when people screw up.
You can tell who's meant to do something.
On a Mills concept, if you see a safety jumping down in a post, you understand why that broke down.
Which is one of the big things I think with NFL is that you'll have, especially casual fans, you'll have a wide receiver screaming down the sideline, and somebody stuffs up, and it's. For your average fan, it's really hard to tell who fucked up there. Yeah. Like, whose job was that? And then a lot of the time, you're never going to know whose job that was because you're never going to know what the actual defensive call was. Yeah. And both the cornerback and safety, for example, are both going to turn to each other and go, what the fuck?
Can I was reminded, Sam, you scored like 3 defensive or special teams touchdowns that season. They were all denied from Dom Rakai. Yeah. Blocking someone in the back.
Yeah. I turned around and half the field is covered in yellow. And I was like, that's how I got through so easy.
I'm pretty sure I got a pick 6 on my first game.
Did you?
On the first game.
Over in Gold Coast?
Yeah.
I remember Smalley going long. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Was it a pick 6, fumble 6?
Pick 6.
Yeah, good on you.
One of the very few times I dropped back in coverage. I think maybe did it like twice a game, drop back in coverage.
Really? From the inside backer?
Yeah.
What are you blitzing going cowboy? What a top.
I called my own plays.
Yeah, no, dude. I actually the first time I kind of almost fell in love with editing and video stuff was actually when I watched the Oregon Ducks highlights.
I remember that.
With Recon for a Dream.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the turning point where I was like, this shit's cool. Like, I'd love to make videos like that. And then I obviously started editing the state high rugby videos and things like that. I remember that
transition well, yeah.
In between that, I had to put up with a few film and television classes, which I didn't pay much attention to. But we digress. And it's kind of led me to where I am today. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. American football look at that, creating careers for people.
Yeah. There you go. Who would have known?
Anyway, back to
what the podcast is meant to be about.
We're going to leave time markers now for people who just want to skip our trip down high school lane.
Let's talk about Cam Newton.
Cam.
He's back. I'm back.
Look, he had very few touches, but as we talked about last week, Carolina paying the Cam Newton's replacement, Cam Newton's replacement's replacement, and now Cam Newton to replace Cam Newton's replacement's replacement. And it led them to scoring, 2 touchdowns and whatnot. He was used sparingly. They clearly only had goal line packages for him there. And
it's that bloody Thanos scene or whatever.
Which one?
You couldn't live with your own failure. Where did that lead you? Back to me. I kind of love it. Cam on the Pats was terrible. I didn't like that whole experience at all.
I can remember at the start of the season before
it was kind of exciting.
He got COVID and stuff like that. They were like that game against the Seahawks, where it was 45-38 or something like that. That was insane. But I think the big question mark is, does his right shoulder have anything left in it?
Does it need to if they don't want him as the pure starter?
Well, that's my question.
Right?
Do they bring him because of that, or is he being purely used as a short down guy? What's your question? Because PJ, what's his name?
PJ Walker
was still the starter.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's been announced.
He's not.
Otherwise.
He didn't have a terrible game.
XFL MVP.
Exactly. And he was baller. If you ever watch some of those XFL games, watch PJ Walker. He was balling out.
In the XFL.
Hell yeah.
So my question is
he was the only one that was heads and shoulders where you would go, okay, maybe he should be in the NFL.
Yeah. And what do you boys think? Do you think they should roll with that? Or do you think Cam is going to be, they're trying to shape Cam to be the guy again?
I just reckon having someone like Cam Newton in a team, especially Carolina, is massive for all the players around there.
Well, you talked about swagger just a second ago.
Yeah, man.
He's a good locker room.
And when he scored his touchdown, his teammates were pumped. They looked and there was videos of him in the huddle, leading it and stuff. That's a win on their behalf, I reckon. Whether he, depending on how many snaps he takes, but I reckon just his presence alone. We see it in all sports now. People getting, signing guys that are on the back end of their career just purely based on their presence.
We touched on it though earlier, I guess, when he got dropped from the Pats, right? We were saying, can he be a backup? Is he ever going to be satisfied with having a backup role? is it just the Panthers and now like the fact that he's gone through all this bullshit and now he's back at the Panthers, is that just kind of what he needed to go, actually, I just love this team, I love this city, and I'm happy to do whatever?
Yeah. Do you think that time off humbled him enough? Like, I think, personally, for Cam, I think this is his last run. Some people Some people are arguing that this is audition to take the role next year. Based on what we saw prior, like in the Patriots and whatnot, I think this is the last we see of Cam this season.
Yeah. So gonna enjoy it.
It's a tough one though, because I can't see, even with Cam and PJ Walker and then Darnold, this team's not going anywhere. They're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. Is this his last run in terms of he's going to see this season out and then retire?
That's what I think.
Okay.
You don't reckon they'll make playoffs?
No. Look, if that defense,
is back, Saints, Bucs, and Atlanta. So Atlanta are trash.
Atlanta's not bad.
Yeah.
Look, they currently do. If the season ended today, they hold a wild card spot because the NFC is
Saints.
terrible.
Saints.
It's so split. Like they're the bottom of the NFC South, but Bucs are 6-3, Falcons are 4-5. 2 5-4, 5-5 teams between them.
What's their run like?
Let's find out.
Coming home. Is that have they played? How many times have they played the Bucs? Have they played the Bucs once already?
Falcons have at least played them once, right?
Surely. Yeah.
I mean, yes, they can get up look, they're playing for a wild card spot, and currently it's just up for grabs in the NFC. Those wild card spots currently have about 12 teams
Falcons,
with the same records sitting on a wild card, like if it ended today.
Falcons, Pats. They got the Jaguars in there. That could be a win.
They got the Pats again.
No. You're looking at the Falcons.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Carolina.
Panthers.
Oh, Panthers. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about
because Gilmore just picked off his old team like the week after he got signed.
Gilmore is an awesome sign. That defense is dope. They found
their swagger back. They went lost for a couple of weeks, but between Brian Burns and stuff like that, once he gets healthy,
they have Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, no,
is he? No, but like, is he playing at the moment?
Playoffs for sure.
Yeah. They could do it. I don't know that Cam being back tips the scales enough for you to then go, they're making the playoffs.
Cam
and CMC is going to get injured next week.
At home v Washington, Cam against Riverboat Ron.
Yep.
Bringing that back. They're at Miami. We don't know to make heads and tails of Miami. They're at home versus Atlanta. At Buffalo. Write that one off. They have Tampa Bay at home. And then they're at they have Tampa Bay twice in 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And if New Orleans has Jameis back, not that Trevor Simeon's been doing bad.
He's
ACL. ACL, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's gone.
Jesus, okay.
Dude, another...
Speaking about ACLs, freaking your boy, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Chase Young.
Chase Young. Gone for the year too. That's heartbreaking, but like...
he's not having a great year.
Can I say that?
Yeah, but like...
compared to what he was hyped up to be, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, dude, that sucks, man. Like...
But can I say holistically, though, it's actually been a decent year of, like, long injuries. Like, Jameson, are they, like, the Jameson, Chase Young, are they, like, the only two to have season enders, like, of starters?
Oh, if you...
I can think of.
The Ravens, that was before the season started.
I think the benefit is that they have the relaxed IR rules now, too, which allows you to come back after 3 weeks. Because there would definitely have been previously players that would have been ready to come back after 3 weeks, but just couldn't because they're on IR for 8 or whatever.
I think
it was,
it's better
8
for
weeks.
the business that, like, it's,
for sure.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that you can't just dilly dally and put yo-yo people back and forth.
Oh no,
3 weeks seems very reasonable.
Yeah, 3 weeks seems reasonable.
For me, it just means that we get more. It's better if the players' union should love this because it means you got more players in practice squads and stuff getting more opportunities. Like it really. As a club, you've got to have more depth in your team, and especially with new practice squad rules, which I'm hoping they don't technically change.
No, I reckon they should keep it.
100%. It used to be limited for those who weren't sure, like plays in the first 2 seasons. You'd have practice squad eligibility. At the moment, you can have anyone in your practice squad, I think it's so much better. We're not losing people. We've got people who have still got a little left to give to their game, like Devonta Smith, the former Falcons running back?
Freeman.
Donta Freeman.
Yep.
We're not losing the Le'Veon Bells, who aren't good enough to start.
Which we just kind of lost, but they just dropped him.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, it just gives them a chance to pop up somewhere else.
Yeah, it means they're not out of it. They can just jump onto a practice squad somewhere else, stay on there for a couple of weeks till there's an injury, get their start. Yeah, I like it. I don't really know, I guess. So moving on from the Panthers, what I did want to touch on was just that crazy parity in the NFC. And we sort of touched on it previously too, where I don't really, there's that bunch up of teams, like about 12 teams, I think, that are sitting on 4 or 5 wins in the NFC. And I don't know where that pack separates.
100%. We thought it was Arizona for a while.
Yeah, we thought it was Arizona.
You can throw that. You can throw the Rams and the Bucs in there at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they were the two favorite at the start. Like, this is one of the craziest, most parodied seasons I've seen in a long time. There are no front runners.
No. And that's what the NFL wants too.
Yeah.
They don't want, the 80s where you had 3 bloody dynasty teams that made the Super Bowl every year and no one else had a shot.
Yeah.
They want every team to be, I guess it's kind of you can kind of say handicap, but it is just fair, right?
Well, I don't think there's anything happening specifically this year. It just happens to be that way. You could argue maybe COVID's a thing, but still, that's no different to like the dice roll of injury and stuff like that. I think it's just happened to be that we've got a weird mix of young and upcoming coaches versus, aging out veteran coaches and whatnot. And it's a weird mix of new school coaching meeting
old school,
but almost verging on archaic coaching.
Yeah.
And that's why we've got everyone's a chance every Sunday.
Yep.
The term any given Sunday has never been more relevant than right 100%. now.